to the Talk of Light talk show with Elma, and that would be me. Tonight we're in for a treat, and I hope you're tuning in and just listen to these dynamic young men that are going to tell you how they raise their children. We have some good fathers out there, and tonight we're going to dedicate this show to those good fathers that take out the time to tend to their children. And we're going to start off with introducing our cast. To my left, we have Cynthia.
Go, Cynthia.
All right, Cynthia. We have Linda.
Yeah.
And then I have Kimberly. All right.
Lady.
And we're going to let these young men introduce themselves, but we always start the show off with a Bible verse. Because this is a Christian talk show, but we don't just cater to just that. We cater to all topics that nobody wants to discuss because they think it's too dirty. But we deal with those things. Okay, what does the Bible say about fathers? God has made him your father for a reason, and you will be blessed by honoring him. Exodus 20:12, honor your father and your mother, so that your so that you may live long, Jerome, in the land the Lord your God is giving you. He needs to hear that one. Proverbs 23:22, listen to your father who gave you life, and do not despise your mother when she is old. So we're going to discuss fathers tonight. You know, sometimes people always want to talk about deadbeat fathers and they're not doing what they're supposed to do with their children, and they're not paying their child support. They don't take time to be with their children. So tonight we have good fathers. We want the world to know, don't we?
Yeah.
We want the world to know that we have good fathers in the house. Give it up for the good fathers. Yes. That take care of their children and they support their wives. So it's not just the mothers taking care of them. We have two good men tonight that's going to talk about this tonight, okay? So to my left, we have Carlos. Talk to me, Carlos.
Los.
Not you, Carlos. He's another Carlos. Come on, Carlos.
My name is Carlos Meekins. I am the father of 8 children.
Woo! 8? Well, now a show called 8 is enough.
8 is enough. I have 8, and they range in age from 26 all the way down to age 3.
What?
Woo!
So, and 2 of them are here with me tonight. So fatherhood is a challenging but rewarding experience. So there you go.
All right. 8 is enough. It's in the house.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Carlos too. Come on, Carlos, talk to me.
All right. Well, Carlos is my middle name. My name is Jerome Carlos Johnson. Yeah. Watch your mouth.
Home in the house.
Leia from the Himalaya.
This is our crazy Carlos here. Okay, Carlos, how many children do you know of?
Do I know of?
I had to get him on that one.
Well, I raised one. And I'm going to tell you, it was hard.
Was it hard?
It was hard.
Now, look,
It
you
was
have
hard.
one, he has 8.
I'm proud of it. You're a good man. A strong man.
All right, okay, let's talk about this. Now, you know, we always want to talk about how mothers do this and that. Tell us a little bit about what goes on in your household with your children. Just talk to us tonight, fathers.
Well, it's you have to have balance. So you have the mother and you have the father, and it's you have to have balance because, and this is not necessarily disparaging, but sometimes there's some emotional stuff that's going on, right? You know, women may be a little bit more emotional, and sometimes you have to bring in just a different perspective. It's not a better perspective.
Okay.
It's a different perspective,
You
especially.
see how he covered that up, y'all.
No, it's a
You
different
heard that,
perspective.
didn't you? Okay.
So if you have, because we have 5 boys,
Okay.
and it's challenging because it's a different feel when you have boys. I mean, they're like all over the place, bouncing around. They want to jump on you and beat you up and wrestle and all of that. And then when it's over, it's time for it to be over. You need to settle down and go do what I told you to do.
Okay.
And if they don't do it the first time, I mean, I know that part of that is, I mean, that's just your testosterone kicking in. I get that.
Okay.
But I will have a different response than my wife. So sometimes stuff will happen. I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And she might take it in a different direction. But then when I say, hey, that's enough, do you need a spanking? They're like, oh no, we're done. Oh, okay. So it's
Daddy
just,
spoke.
it's just a different perspective. And then she has a better way of helping me interact with my daughters because, I mean,
Is it hard raising girls?
for a man, I'm going to say it's harder to
Okay.
raise girls.
Okay.
It's a challenge because you're looking at it from your perspective. You're like,
Okay.
oh wow, no, you can't wear that. No, you can't wear that. No, you can't wear that. And then when it comes to the whole dating thing, my oldest daughter is like, well, nobody's going to be good enough. Somebody's going to be good enough. It's just not him. He is not it. So we went through a series of things. My oldest daughter is like, no, that's not it. He's
How
not
old is
the
your
one.
oldest daughter?
She's 25.
Whoa.
She's 25.
Okay.
And it's just one thing I was thinking about today before I came on the show is when she was in college, she said, well, I want to earn some extra money. I said, okay, go get you a job. Then one day we were taking her back to school and she was like, well, how would you feel if I worked at Bucks? I was like, it's a strip club. I said, you must be out of your mind. I said, you know what? Do what you want to do, but I'm being there every night. Sitting in the front
Dad
row.
at the strip club.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sitting there in the front row, yelling. You know you weren't raised like that. Put your clothes back. So that she stopped.
So she
was like, oh no, they're gonna
wouldn't
throw
mind.
you out. I don't care. They
Okay,
throw
so
me out
how
every
did you
night.
do when she was trying to? What about her first boyfriend? Well, I mean, did you give him the 3rd degree?
I did.
Oh,
and he stopped dating her.
I love it.
Yeah, he stopped dating her.
Love it.
Because the first thing I would do when she was younger is I would check the boy's Instagram and
That's
Facebook.
good. Right. That's good.
And he had, I said, have you seen his Instagram? She was like, yeah. I mean, it had all kind of pictures on there about objectifying women. I said, now, if he has that on there, he's going to treat you bad.
Right.
Okay.
So I saw him, I said, let me talk to you for a second. I said, if you ever decide to do something that's contrary to what I believe, like put your hands on my daughter, if you punch her or hit her or anything like that, hey, you got to be ready because I'm coming for you.
Wow.
And he stopped dating her like the next week.
Really? Did
Yes.
she get mad?
No,
Oh, she didn't get mad?
no. She knew. She
didn't
knew.
like him that much,
No, she
did
knew. She knew.
Oh,
See,
she
I
knew
told
that
her,
you
I said,
don't
hey, we don't get down like that. No, sir.
I love
No,
it.
sir.
That sound like old school.
Yeah.
That sound like
Yeah.
old school.
Yeah.
Now they don't drop. Let me ask you this, because you know some of them like, just blow it, I'll run out the house. You know when
Right,
it comes
just
to the
honk,
mother.
honk the horn
Yeah,
and
honk the
pull
horn.
up.
No, no.
Don't come to the door now.
What you do? Knock at the door.
I need to meet him.
Okay,
I will
good,
go out
good,
there
good.
to his car, so it doesn't matter. I'm coming out to see
Old school in the
That's the
house.
way it should be.
All right, we're gonna pause for a minute and get come on up here, dog is down. I mean, all right. We're gonna let you introduce yourself.
Yes, tell us about
I'm
those
Otto.
2 beautiful girls and a handsome son of yours.
Oh, those bad kids?
I'm like, no, we're not gonna call them bad kids. You don't have no bad
Oh, yeah.
kids.
Yeah, I know.
Oh Lord. Okay, tell us about your children.
Tell them about
yourself.
Sweetheart and Darling.
Yeah.
Them bad kids.
That's Otto, y'all. He gonna tell it like it is.
You know how people talk about their kids, you know, they just,
Put 'em up on
wonderful.
pedestal.
Yeah, that's a blessing of the Lord. If that's a blessing, curse me.
Uh,
No, I'm just kidding.
he just playing, y'all. He know that. How many children do you have? Otto?
3.
3? What? Come on, tell
Their
us.
ages.
Girls, 2 girls and 1 son.
What
1
ages?
boy. I think my son, how is my son, like 30-something, 35?
Oh, come on. You don't have a
Then,
son that old.
Mm,
You
and
still
then my-
look good.
Tell them how long you been married, Otto.
39 years.
Wow.
Oh, man, you got me by 2. It'd be 37 for me and my husband. It'd be 37, so you
Same
got me by
woman.
2. Congratulations. I need you on the show to say, hey, how did you live with this man for 39 years? So we're going to have a newlywed game on here.
She got a good doctor.
Oh, okay, so you have girls too?
Two girls.
Okay,
daughters.
2 girls. What ages are they?
One's 34.
Okay.
One's like 32.
Okay, now, this Carlos was saying how he don't play that kind of stuff with his daughter. Tell us how you raise your daughters.
Oh.
That's too long. That's too long to think.
How did I raise my daughters? Wow. You know, they were, you know, basically they were scared to bring guys home.
Uh-oh, you sound like him. Okay, why were they scared?
Because they knew, you know, I was just gonna ask them straight up.
Boy, I love old school in the
I was just
house.
gonna ask them straight up. So what you want? You looking for some panties?
And what they say?
No,
That
sir.
sound like Otto. What they say, y'all?
They say no, sir. I said what you need to do is drill your hole in the wall and use that.
Okay.
If you got about $20-$25, I can send you in a direction.
But not in this house.
But not over here.
Okay, so how did the girls, I mean, when they was to bring their boyfriend, or did they bring them in the house? I mean, how did they get in the house?
Oh, you're not coming in the house. You can talk outside.
Okay, so
Man to man.
you had to interview them before they even walked in.
Oh yeah, we gonna holler.
Okay, not the bump, jump in the
No.
car and leave?
Nah, not the no sir, yes sir. Say that for your daddy.
Okay, so what?
I'm not impressed by all that.
Oh,
Your
oh,
manners,
yeah.
you know.
Right,
Yes
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, they do that. You think that's a, what you call it, facade or something when they
Yeah,
come
they've
in?
been coached.
Oh, they've been coached to get into
Yeah.
you all, because they know they got the,
Yeah. It's called pimping.
oh, pimping?
Pimping ain't easy.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
yes,
you,
sir.
but you know, a lot of things you have to look at, and it's good that you all are in the house. Because you have a lot of children nowadays that their dads are not in the house, and the mother are raising them by them, you know, themselves. So it's good to have, and I just want to applaud these fathers that are actually in the house, because a lot of time girls need that. They need their daddies.
They need
that.
that.
They do.
You know, so did you all ever date? You know, show your girls how to go
yeah.
out on a date and everything like that?
Yeah, I took my daughters out to, took them out on a date to restaurants and things like that. Just
Was
each
it
one.
McDonald's or?
No McDonald's. No Mickey D's. I took them out to a nice restaurant.
Okay.
And just one at a time.
Okay.
Take one out to a nice restaurant and just kind of show them how a guy's supposed to treat you.
Okay, what about you, Carlos? With the
It
girl?
wasn't one at a time, but it was like two, and I mean, it changes the expectation that they have
Okay,
of what a date is supposed to look like.
Exactly.
okay.
So if you expose your kids overall to what is supposed to happen, and for the boys too, on how to treat a woman,
I like that.
then it
Yeah.
changes what the expectation is, or what their expectation is of who they can accept in their life.
Okay, so Jerome, your son, you raised him. So how did you raise your son? You only had one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, it was a little different because it was just me.
Okay.
I was like a sophomore at UTA, and
So you was in college.
yeah, found out
Wow.
I had little man on the way, and
Were you devastated when you got that news?
not really, cause
It wasn't like that confession.
No, it wasn't like Usher. It wasn't like no, it wasn't like that.
It wasn't like us.
It wasn't like that. No, but truthfully, I wasn't ready.
Okay.
I mean, but I didn't have.
But
a
you
choice.
wasn't ready. But how did the baby come about if you wasn't ready?
Well,
Wow.
No protection
what had happened
or nothing?
was
or-
no protection.
Oh,
no protection,
okay. So
yeah.
that's a thing
And
right there.
So, since we talking about dads and stuff, so mama was out of town, and
Your mama was out.
my
of
mama
town.
was out of
Okay,
town.
so here
and
comes the
so
little stinky little
the
boy.
deal was, with
Being
my
managed.
parents, as long as I was in college, I could stay with them until I graduate from college. So
Okay.
I'm at the house, mom out of town, and
You
my
grown.
dad was more laid back.
You grown, huh?
So I should have been at church.
But you heard that part where he knew her.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
that happened, and, he came along, and I tried to do the honorable thing, and, let's get married. And I got a real definite no. I don't want to get married. I'm not ready for that.
Did that hurt your
And,
feeling? when she said no?
A little bit, but hindsight is 20/20, and I'm glad.
Okay,
know.
so you glad, okay.
Yeah, I'm glad, because it would have been like the Titanic, a disaster.
Okay.
You know,
You didn't want to bring your baby
but-
into that.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So, around the time he was about 2 months, you know, I ended up keeping him for the weekend, and that's been a 30-year weekend. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you serious? She just brought the baby over there and left the baby?
yeah, I mean, she'd come back every once in a while to see him,
Wow.
check on him, but yeah.
That should have been a shocker. You waiting on her to pick him up on Sunday, and then Sunday turned into 30 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Yeah,
How did
but-
he feel about that?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't an issue for him until he got to be around middle school age because, you know, kids need their father, but they need their mamas too.
Yeah.
And
That's true. That's
it's
true.
no connection for a man deeper than the connection to his mama, other than when he gets married to his wife.
Right.
And my son always missed out on that.
Right.
So
Wow.
it caused some issues later on when he got to be older, but you know, we were good. I mean, he was a daddy's boy everywhere I was, he was. You know, I think I did all right.
Is the mother around him now, or is he able to?
You know what? I'm
communicate
not
with him?
sure. I'd have to call him and ask him. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, okay.
We don't talk about that.
Okay, well, good. You.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
When it comes to like a lot of teenagers are going through the smoking weed and all that kind of stuff, how did y'all handle that as fathers, like going through those whole little, how did y'all just say not in my house and it still happened? Or did you say not in my house and it didn't happen because they knew better than to mess with you when it came to that? Because I'm really having issues with teenagers
Yeah.
dipping and dabbing with the weed.
With
and
my
all.
son, we have a very honest relationship, and I think that's because we kind of grew up together. I mean, you think you're grown at 21, but you're really not.
Not.
And so we kind of grew up together, so we had that special bond. And he truthfully didn't partake in weed until he was older. I mean, he's honest with me, you know. I mean, he probably do a little puff, pass now, but
Yeah.
he didn't when he was a teenager, and you know, so I just think if you have the rules and you know they know that there's consequences, then they'll abide by that. But you know, you have to also. I feel like for me, the reason we had such a good relationship is a lot of times as parents we're not real with our kids. And we don't admit the mistakes that we made.
Right.
And so that's why I can kind of relate to him, because when it comes to that testing out weed or whatever, I was a late bloomer too. So, you know, I just feel like you have to be open and honest with your kids and let them know that you're not demanding perfection. You just demand that they do their very best and hold a high standard, not only for themselves, but for your family overall. Because everything that they do affects their parents, and it
Yes.
people will talk about kids and say, well, look at their parents. You know, it's the parents' fault. They
Yeah.
didn't whoop them enough, or they
Right.
didn't give them
Right.
enough rules. And,
Right.
you know, they don't know what went on in your house.
household.
But, you know, you have to set a standard for your kids. And if they see you keeping that same standard, they'll keep it. But you can't set a standard and then you breaking it all the time and expect them to keep it.
Right.
How do you guys feel about that? Otto,
About the
Carlos?
weed,
No.
weed.
Weed, well, the standard too, because you can sometimes set a standard and sometimes your kids ignore it.
Yeah.
The next question is, were you guys saved when you first, I know you were all saved and haven't gotten yet, but were you instilling those Christian values when you were younger or when you first had your kids?
Yes and no.
Oh, that's fine, just.
Yeah, so as far as the weed is concerned, I mean, there's an expectation. Hey, when that's not happening. That's not happening. One of my older kids came back to having some hard times. I said, sure, you can come back in, and I have the two little boys at home.
Right.
I'm like, let me let you know what the rules are, just in case you forgot. This is not allowed. That's not allowed. That's not allowed. This is not allowed. If you can't get with that, then you can stay somewhere else. But if you want to
Right.
stay here,
Love it.
this is what we do in this household. If you-
Right.
Hey,
I like
when
that.
we go to church on Sunday, you get in the car and come along.
I mean, they
right?
can't stay at home while
no,
you go to church.
no.
Oh
You're
my
not-
God!
if you don't have no job and you're not contributing to the pot, you don't have
Thank
you don't have any say.
I love it. I
You get in the
love it.
car and you going. I don't care if you 25, 85, it doesn't matter.
Long day in your
Yeah.
household.
Right.
I
So-
agree with that.
Right.
I came home one day. I was like, what is that smell?
Ungodly odor.
It was a perfume, wasn't it? Wasn't it perfume?
It was, I don't know, it was a Black and Mild, but I don't know if he had cut it and emptied out.
Made a blunt.
Yeah, so I didn't know. I said, that. So my youngest son was like, Daddy, what is that smell? I said, I don't know. I'm going to find out. He put the whatever was left, he put it on the counter and it stunk up the whole house.
Wow.
I said, what is wrong with you? He's like, hey, come on. He's like, nah, I thought that you meant that we couldn't smoke inside the house. No, you didn't. Stop lying. So he did it in the backyard while he was talking on the phone. I'm like, man, stop playing. We don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I said, you can get out. Get your stuff and get out. Get. No. I get it now. I get. Oh, so okay. Eventually, we had to put him out anyway. But I mean, he's struggling with life in general.
Yeah.
And like he said, people don't know what goes on in your house.
Right.
And we've done from A to Z in working with him to get his life together. But sometimes it's about choices.
That's true.
And
That's
some
true.
kids, they get out there in that street life, and it's not. I mean, those streets are mean. And
That's
and
right.
he. Yes, and he
Yes, they
decided
are.
that that's where he wants to be. I'm like, we still love you, but we can love you from a
Over
distance.
there.
Yeah, we
That's
can
what
love
we
you from a
said, over
distance.
there.
I still love you, but you're not gonna do whatever you want over here.
Right,
So,
right.
but yeah, I mean, you just have to maintain that standard and say, hey, this is not what we're going to do. And if the kids, they're looking at you as a dad, they're always looking at you.
Yes.
Well, they're going to look at you all the time
Right,
and evaluate everything that you're doing. Now, they might
right.
not tell you that. And as far as being honest, you have to be honest, and you have to ask questions. Hey, you smoking weed at school? People at your school smoke weed? People at your
You
school
gotta
smoke
talk
weed?
to them about yes.
And not only that, but about expectations for their friends
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My kids went to a primarily majority school, and they would tell me about conversations that their friends would have about African Americans. I said, listen, if they talking about other African Americans, that includes you.
Right.
Whether they're your friend or not, that's you
That's right.
too. They're talking
That's
about
right.
you too.
That's right.
Yeah.
So my daughter, I said, you need to ask her a question about that. She's like, well, I said, no. You don't understand. If she's talking about people as a group and you're part of that group, that includes you. So she had a conversation with the girl, and then the girl stopped talking about African Americans. But the thing for me that was telling is when my daughter took her SAT, because she's not necessarily a studier, but she just has certain gifts that she could just go in there and take a test and just like, all right, that's good enough for me to get where I want to get in. And her score was higher than her friend's score, and her friend was like, you didn't score that high. Like, you didn't score that high. There's no way you scored higher than me. I was like, wow. Are you serious? So that lets you
That was
know.
a
Yes.
slap.
Yes. So you also have to talk to them about all of that stuff.
All of that.
And you have to be bold enough to have some of those conversations that might
Right.
be uncomfortable because they
That's
think their
right.
friends are great and you know all of that. But hey, it has nothing to do with where you're going to be 20 years from now, 10
That's
years
right.
from now,
There
15
you
years
go.
from now. That has nothing to do because if they're not going in the same direction you're going in, you need to leave them right now.
That's right.
So
They gonna either help pull you up or they gonna help
Yeah,
pull
yeah,
you
yeah.
down. So you have to really be careful with your surroundings. And a
Right.
lot of times they wanna be a part of this here.
right.
And they know in their household, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna
It's not gonna happen, but when we get out there, you know. I remember even in my young days when I was going out, I wanted to be with, but my grandmother wanted me in those long old skirts and I pull them out. You know, but it was just you trying to be far, but I couldn't fit in because I knew Irene wasn't gonna take that.
Right.
So I had to say, no, it's not gonna work. I'm gonna have to abide by the house. And majority of them end up pregnant where I was trying to, you know, be like that, but I knew I couldn't go there. I knew that was one thing, cause mother she scared me half to death. So I said, no, that part I'm gonna leave alone. You know, but we all have to have standards, and like I said, I love that y'all talk about this as old school because a lot of kids nowadays are running the household.
Yes, they are.
You know, they're running the household.
Yes,
And you talk to
they
a
are.
lot of them at your job, right?
I do.
And a lot of them are running their household. They telling their parents what to do. They talking back to their parents.
You gonna input Otto?
Come on, Otto, talk to
Come
me
on,
about
just,
style.
You know, I agree with him when he's talking about you have to set the rules. the thing about weed, that's a big thing right now.
Right.
Yeah, but this
There's a lot of pressure on the kids to do that.
Yes,
So,
all those drugs that they bringing out.
And it's not
Yeah.
just weed.
It's-
It
that's
could
what I'm
be
saying, it's
having
other.
kids have their alternate lifestyle. It could have, alcohol,
Yeah.
just a lot of stuff. And as fathers, how do you sit down and talk with your kids, even though they're older and grown?
Yeah,
Do they talk to you about things
when
like
they're
that?
grown, you can, think you can lead a horse to water,
I love it.
you can't-
That's old school
but
there.
you can't beat them enough to make them drink it. Is that what?
That's-
Something like that.
That's accurate.
That's good. I remember that one.
Yeah, but you want to talk to the kids about it, and then I always talk to them about it and tell them, when you do, why are you doing that? See, my whole thing is why.
Because
If
the
you-
other kids are doing it.
See, now if you do something because somebody else is doing it,
Talk to me.
See, I'm probably gonna catch a case and get 20 to life, because I'm getting ready to take you out the game. But if you're doing it because you make a decision to do it, then that's a different thing, because you make a decision. If you make a decision to do it, that's your decision. That's just a bad decision. But if you become a follower, then I'm out on that,
Okay.
I don't tolerate that at all. If
So
you gonna follow.
what happens when you sit down and you talk to them and you told them about sex and you talk to them about the drugs and they know this and they still go out there after you have talked to them about it and you find out that they did whatever?
When my kids were younger, I was pretty, they say I was pretty strict.
Okay.
But,
You
uh,
are,
You no.
Well, my
You
mom
seem
was
so
strict,
laid
though.
back.
I have to
Him
give it to her.
and
My mom was
Suda
strict.
are strict. They tag team strict, right, Suda?
But I wanted to, my main thing was, especially with my daughters, you start out with small goals. Goal number 1, daughters graduate without getting pregnant.
Okay.
Right.
That was my mama goal
Okay,
too.
you can graduate without getting pregnant. That's a miracle from heaven.
That is, especially in this day and time.
Okay.
I really commend them that can go
Okay,
that.
with the boys, let's see if you can graduate without getting shot by the police or getting a felony record.
That's good. That's a
Okay,
good
if we
one,
can
too.
get you past the police and past the felony record, then we doing good.
That's good.
Okay.
And that's really
Because,
good.
True life.
Because that's just a fact of life in the black community. Young black men are
That's
either
true.
gonna, if they don't get taken out by, trying to join some kind of gang or get involved with the wrong crowd, and are just one,
Yeah.
young black men are one police stop away from
Right.
being dead. Just one altercation.
Yeah.
It could be, they could cross paths, and that could end their life right there. It's just a reality. And so I had to explain that to my son,
Wow,
that you
that's
want to
good.
stay away from law enforcement. You want to stay away from any type of trouble. It's always the good kid who gets shot.
Isn't it?
Right.
And you be wondering about that. Or
Yeah,
the
it's
good
always the
kid
good
that get
kid.
caught up. Yeah.
Right. The good kid will try to mix in with the bad kid. And the bad kid will do something, and the good kid end up getting shot. You'll be 3 running from the liquor store. The man will shoot, and it's going to take out the kid who's never done anything in their life.
And you be wondering why.
And so you have to tell them, and you have to, self-esteem. Why are you doing this? Do you need, what is it that you need people to like you for? And if they always have to do something because they have a low self-esteem, then that's a problem. You have to deal with that. You have to talk to them about their esteem and who they are, and that they don't need somebody to affirm them.
Okay. Okay.
And you can't care and worry all the time about what people think.
Right.
You're right.
That's
You know.
That's right.
I always
Get
told
into
them,
that
yeah,
stereotype
you go to
too.
jail, you do 5 years, they gonna still be at the Dairy Queen eating ice cream cone.
You're right.
That's right. You'll be
That's
doing
right.
5 years, and they'll be still carrying on,
No. You're right.
still
And
smoking
they,
weed.
you left behind.
You
and
left
they-
behind.
And you, yeah, similar to that movie with Will They See Us, the 5 boys that spend all their time. You be wondering what's going on with our kids nowadays. And a lot of time, even when I go to the schools and I'm talking to them and asking them this, some of them are so disrespectful. They don't, like I went to one of the schools and I get up to speak and the guy over there doing push-ups. I mean, when it was push-ups.
I was
push-ups.
playing.
He over there doing push-ups, and I'm like, really?
How many did he do?
I don't know. I tell you what, I told him he had to get up out of that. You know, you don't disrespect people like that. And the security guy looked at him, he said, boy, you don't be doing that. You know, but it's just the way.
Tell what he said at first.
He's one of the most popular.
He was
students.
Yeah,
the
he
most
was the most popular. He was a football, I think the quarterback or something.
Yeah.
I tell him, I don't care about you being no quarterback. I only have like 45 minutes to speak to you all. And no, you know, so I had security guy take him out. Then he brought him back over there and apologized because he probably knew the boy. But you know, sometimes those kids act up because of the fact they want to be with this. You know, they just acting out because they want to be grown.
They want attention.
And then they know when they get home, they gonna get a whooping because their parents done taught them one way, but they get out here, they want to be another way, you know.
No, that's a
But
problem,
that's
right
it.
there. The problem is they parents at home don't teach them that. Because what you have now is kids raising kids.
That's, you're right.
Or you have a single mother, instead of raising her child, she's out chasing doggy style,
Okay.
okay?
I was like,
I was like,
And
Dog
she's
job.
bringing people in and out the house,
Yes,
and
she
she's
working
not
two
even,
jobs.
she's not focused on her kids
Kids.
and disciplining the kids.
That's
right.
You know,
Right.
she's looking to ride a horse somewhere,
Yeah.
and that's
Say
all
that
she's looking
again.
for.
Say that again for the
And that's
people
all
in the
she's
back.
looking for.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you got the man, he's supposed to be raising his child, but he's sitting up here on the phone or bringing girls into the house. He's calling them hoes.
Right.
That's right.
And who the hoe? Is your mama a hoe? How about your baby sister? Is she a hoe? And so now you causing them to disrespect women.
Right. There you go.
Because you disrespecting women.
Right.
And now you want them to go to school and respect the teacher after they heard you disrespecting this woman over here. They saw you slapping this girl over here, and you trying to tell your boy to go respect these women. They're not gonna do it.
And they
then you
seeing
let
the
them
daddy slapping
They
them,
seeing the daddy, and
so
so
they gonna slap
it's-
them too.
It's you know, you can tell your kids, you know, respect women, do this and do that, but how do you treat your wife? If
That's
you're
a good
treating your
question.
wife
I
or
like
your woman,
that.
you're not
I like
respecting
that.
them, then they're gonna go out and they're not gonna do what you say. They're gonna do what you do.
That's right. And we tell them not to, what is that saying they saying?
Don't do
as
what
I
I say.
say.
Do,
Say
no,
not
do
as I do.
as I do. Do what I say.
Say.
Yeah.
And that confuses the kids too, cause they looking at you doing this, and then you bringing them up, and you know, then I hate to hear when a mother say, well, you don't have to do this and you don't have to do what I do, but you doing all this in front of the kids.
Right.
You know, like you said, you bringing in all the men and all this, or even if the child come to you. Now, when your daughters come to you, and they're talking to you as their daddy, and they're asking you advice about your man, do you sugarcoat it, or you straight out just, hey?
Straight out.
You
Yeah, I'm straight up.
Oh yeah.
Straight up with them, okay? And they need to know that. They need to know the good, because they don't need to think that love is when a man whoop on me.
Right.
You know,
I have to disagree with you on one point
Mm-hmm.
because all mothers are not what you just
Chasing doggy style.
yeah, chasing doggy style. Some of the mothers are working 2 and 3 jobs to
Now, that's correct
put
also.
food on their table. So you do have those that are, you know, submissive. I mean, not permissive, but you have also women that work hard and try to raise their kids correctly. But once they are attempting to work hard and raise their child, you have to also remember that society, when they leave home, they have intervened with others.
Now, that's a problem too. That's
Right,
a major
because
problem.
once you go to leave the house, you spend more time, like my job, I spend more time with the people that I work with
Right.
than the people that I come home to. So you are getting stuff, different stuff, different information that's not helpful.
Right.
Right.
And if you have a follower, that's gonna be harder on him. Now, if you're a leader, then you can correct yourself. But a follower is always gonna follow because he's missing something.
Right. Now, that's a different situation. If you have a single parent household, single mom, single man raising a kid, that's very difficult because you can teach your children one thing and then they go out and hang out with somebody else, another child.
Right.
Whose
Right.
mama is chasing doggy style.
Okay.
And then you trying to,
We
you know,
still gonna
raise
do
your
the doggy
kid
style.
properly. Then they get mixed up in that thing, and then that influence. You know, it seems like you take a good kid, put him with a couple of bad kids, and you know, like rotten apples. You just
Right.
set that apple on top of that one. But that's why it's so important to have that's why the family structure is so important.
Right.
And that's why it's so very important, if you possibly can, is not to be a single mom. Now, if you get pregnant and you get divorced, just you know, nothing you can do about that. But just going out having sex with different guys and then getting pregnant, and then you're stuck being a single mom, that's very difficult
that's
to
right.
do. And that's why that comes down to raising children. You want to try to talk to them so you can try to avoid that if at all possible. And let them know, hey, you know, you don't want to get pregnant, you don't want to be a single mom, because you can do
hard.
it, but it's very difficult to
Yeah,
do.
it's hard. And I think that parents need to, and daddies is very, you know, they really need to sit down and talk with their kids, you know, even about that, about the sex, about, you know, a lot of times some kids, parents don't want to talk to them, and I don't understand that. It's biblical. You got to talk about it. It's in the Bible about sex. It says sex is honorable, but, you know, you got to do it the right way.
Right.
You know, when my dad died when I was 5, but my mother raised 6 girls
Wow.
and 2 boys. And we was in the country, Kildare, Texas. I sent a shout out. Kill one, dare to tell it. That's how bad we were, okay? But she worked 3 to 4 jobs to make
Yeah.
sure
Right.
all of us was taken care of.
Right.
But she set her rules and regulation.
Right.
And you didn't bring nobody in that house while Irene was gone. You didn't even open the door. Even if they walked up there and you knew that
Right.
person, you did not open that door. You
Right.
talked through the door and said, no, you can't come. And she meant, I mean, hey, we didn't have to worry about that, because it was where the whole community, if I walked out there, it was all down the road. Irene Brown child was down there, and before mama got home, it was time for the bell.
Right.
You know, so it
right,
wasn't.
right.
She didn't
Right.
do no birds and all this
Bees.
stuff. Birds and bees and all this stuff and all that. No, it was sit down and talk. This what happened. You have sex. It wasn't putting the quarter between the leg.
No, it's
when
an
you go out,
aspirin.
all that old crazy must that they would do. You know, you put a quarter between the leg, you walk. If the quarter fall out, I mean, what kind of mess was that? You know,
Well, yours was a quarter, but mine was an aspirin.
aspirin,
Put it between your knees, and
Yeah.
and you can't move it.
right?
That's what my grandmother always told when I was.
Yeah, and that was so
Yeah.
crazy.
And I'm thinking,
I'm like, how am
would
I
she
gonna get to the-
know
yeah.
if I remove that aspirin?
And that means you sitting there with the quarter. If you move, the quarter go close. You go do it. You know, we had all this old crazy stuff, you know. And I'm like, really? But my mom wasn't like that. She would tell us, this is what's going to happen. It was the vagina, the penis. It wasn't no all this stuff. She broke it down because she said, look, if you get pregnant, you're gonna take care of that child. I'm not babysitting. Wherever you go, that baby going. And I mean, hey,
That makes you stop and
everything.
think.
That made me stop and think. She said, my goal is for every one of her children to get a college degree.
That's good.
So
That's
she worked 3 and 4 jobs, and everybody knew she did our hair. Our hair was so straight, you know how to get that hot comb? It was so straight that if water dropped on it, it just fell right off. That's how it was. But she brought us up like that, and she taught us all how to cook. My brothers had to learn how to
Right,
cook.
right.
We did the oil change, the morning, everything. Pick peas, did it all. But we had fun doing that. We had one little daughter, Barbie, and the Ken. I mean, we didn't have a lot, but she taught us how to be a lady. She taught us. She said, that's a gold mine, and you don't let anybody dig in your gold mine.
Wow.
That's true.
And we didn't let anybody dig in our gold mine.
Watch out there.
You know, because gold is good. You know, gold is shining. And that stuck with me. Even when I went to college, it stuck with me.
I was gonna ask him about being a single dad. How long were you single before you got married with your son? I mean, married with your now
He's
wife.
so old, he probably can't remember.
So that whole family structure, but you
by
had
the
your parents
time-
helping you, right?
By
You
the
had your
time I
parents-
got married, my son was 26.
So was your parents
Wow.
helping you raise this boy? I mean, how did
Yeah,
you
my
do it?
parents were around, and they did a lot to help, and my brothers. I mean, because we're a tight family.
Oh,
So
That's
it
good.
was a family affair. I mean, my brothers were always instrumental, my parents,
That's
my
good.
nieces and nephews, so
Wow,
it was
that's
a group
Yeah.
raising of the kid.
That's
But,
good.
you know, I did my part, I mean, because I just felt like it was my obligation, my responsibility.
That's
And,
good.
you know, people, because the media will have you to believe that doesn't happen a lot in the black community, and that's not true.
Yeah.
So when people would see that, they would say, "Oh, you're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you." And I really never felt like I deserved a compliment for doing something that I was supposed to do. That was my child.
That's
So,
good. I
mean,
like
you
that.
know,
But I think it's still nice to hear. It's
Yes,
just like at
yes,
work.
it
You go
is.
to work, you do your job, you're supposed to do it, but they still tell you it's nice. Let's not take that away from people because
Absolutely.
people need that. And someone should tell you you're doing a good job.
I appreciate you. That's why you're my friend.
It's just part
And it
of
should
life.
motivate you, you know, to think about how
You
many
shouldn't take for
men
granted.
are in houses right now with kids. You think about that.
Right.
It's a blessing to have men in their house.
house.
I don't care what
It is.
race it is. It's a blessing because you see so many single women out there raising them. And like, see, my daddy died, so my mom was left with raising us.
Right.
But what about these, like you were saying, that here they are, and see, and it's so messed up because a lot of times they think, well, if you love me, you'll give it up. But see, you're going to be stuck with that child.
Yeah.
Right.
Most of the time, the lady is stuck with the child, and the boy's gone, and you don't have that.
And
But
it's
go ahead.
what age are we talking about? Because it's really broad right now.
Right.
And it's what age and what women. You're talking about 20s, and then you could be talking about 50s. So you got to figure out what age group we're talking about.
It says here, the question is, what is the hardest age to parent?
Wow.
What is that? What is
Oh,
the
well, I
hardest
was
age?
talking about the other one you were talking
I
about.
think they all hard.
You think all of them are hard age?
I think from 13 to maybe once they hit 13 to 18, that
Yeah.
age
That's
there.
a hard age for you.
That's a
What
hard
you say?
age for
All
us.
ages?
I mean, they are hard
13,
in different
18.
ways.
Ways.
I think because I was dealing with a boy, and boys usually start to smell themselves around 12.
12.
Middle school is the
12,
hardest part
13,
for
yeah.
a boy's life.
Is that the sixth, seventh grade? What
it's-
grade is that?
yeah.
Sixth grade?
6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Sixth
Sometimes
graders usually
Ninth.
trying to
Test
get
the fire.
adjusted
Yeah.
to not being in elementary
Elementary
school.
school,
Right.
yeah.
But by the time they hit that 7th grade,
Oh, yeah.
They
That's-
start paying
it's
attention
a
to
whole
girls.
different attitude.
Yeah.
And, you know, they usually got a little height on them, and, you know, they'll try to
They
talk
get
crazy to
bugged.
their mama.
Yeah.
And,
It's knocked
you know,
down.
so for me, with my son,
They will get
he
knocked
was a
down.
late bloomer. He started trying to give me a little problems. He started in middle school, but by the time he got to Southwest at freshman year, yeah.
He said, yeah. He said, yeah.
Well, the reason I asked you how long were you before you got married, because you said he missed out on the motherhood, like your son missed out. So how did he adjust to your wife after you? I mean, at least he was out of the house by then, right? But was he like, man, Dad, you know, you should have did this when I was a
So
kid?
I remember
or-
the day that I got married. We didn't have a big wedding or anything, but he had to go to work that day. But before he went to work, we sat down and we talked, and he told me he was really excited for me. He was happy for me. He just wanted somebody to love his dad.
Oh,
And
that's
so-
sweet.
That's
And,
good. That's
you know,
good.
his thing was, as long as she treats you right, I'm gonna love her just like I love you.
That's
Wow,
good.
that's
Girls
That's
are more
good.
That's good.
territorial over their fathers than boys. Like whenever there's a breach and usually the parents separate, usually the sons accept the new woman more than the daughters. Have y'all seen that too?
It depends. I mean,
You just think it depends?
I've been divorced, and my girls were like, no. I'm like, what?
Ain't your
Oh, they
choice.
didn't want you to get married again?
No.
Right.
Oh,
it ain't
they
your
did?
choice,
No,
though.
not
So,
at all.
But you had to
so
let
how
them
many?
know.
Okay, so you had how many in the first?
5.
Okay, you got 5.
And
And
then
the
I
girls
had
then-
3.
You got 3 by your second
Yes.
one. Okay, so these 5,
The 3 girls, they were
Got they
not
nerve.
having it.
they didn't have it.
I've seen that.
They're okay now.
Now,
Right. That's pretty typical.
I should have the wife up here.
Yeah.
They're okay now.
Yeah.
They were like, no.
So what age were they when you was thinking
Oh
about
my
getting married?
goodness. How old were they?
They don't even matter.
They was
It
in the
don't
teen,
matter.
it didn't matter.
She said
don't
8,
Oh, they were 8,
and 10.
And 10? Oh, well, they was
And
daddy's
16.
little girls then.
But they, you
Oh,
know,
they was
they-
daddy's
they-
little girls.
Yeah, so, but now, which is interesting, they will tell her stuff and not tell me. I'm like, how did you find that out?
All right.
How did you know that? Well, no, they just told me. I'm like, really? But it's good that they can
Right.
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
that kind
that's
of
real good.
conversation with her
Right.
because they'll have that conversation with her, and sometimes they won't have that conversation with their own mother.
Okay.
Right.
So we're going to have to have y'all back on the show
Yeah,
again
yeah,
and talk
yeah. So
about the
it's-
blending.
it's-
Yeah.
And my son, that he was like, no. I was like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong? What is wrong? with
They
you?
was really looking at you as mama. Yeah. That's,
because I really
yeah.
spend a lot of time with my kids trying to build relationships. So even if something crazy happened, they would tell you,
Right.
or they
Right.
would call you.
Right.
So it's and it's not about changing your expectation.
Right.
But you have to let them know, hey, if something goes on, you can always talk to me about it, even if you make a
Right,
mistake.
that's good.
Right.
So
right.
so I guess they thought that was
They were
going to
losing it.
change,
Yeah,
yeah.
they thought they were-
And that
Yeah.
doesn't change. I'm still the same person. And I asked them, have I changed at all? They're like, no. Okay, I'm still gonna be the same person. I'm still, hey, I'm gonna get up in your behind if you do something wrong, and if you do something right, we'll pat you on the back and move forward. So it's about putting that time in early,
Right. Right.
so later on they understand how the relationship is as a father. I'm still here to discipline you. And I used to tell my sons, I'm like, I'm not your friend. That's not what
Oh,
this is
that was a
about.
good question.
Yeah, that's
That
not
was
what
a
this
good
is about.
question. That's
not
a
what this is
good
about.
question.
I said, my job,
Yes.
given to me by God, is to raise you
Right.
and make sure you come out okay. I said, now, when you get older, we might be able to be friends, but right now, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. This is not
That's
what that
good.
is.
That's
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
because
we're
I
not
hear
trying to be
that. Me and my, we friends.
No.
How can you be? I mean, can y'all? I mean, the friend part.
No.
Oh, me and my mama, we friends.
No,
we best of
no.
friends. And, but how do you discipline them? I mean, how did it come about? You being friends?
when they get grown.
Hello.
When they get
I'm
grown,
not,
right?
I'm
She
not
asked me
friends with my
questions.
kids.
Okay, talk to me.
Even now?
Well, now, yeah, but,
But they love
I'm-
their dad.
I'm
They're
not your
crazy
friend.
about their dad.
Okay.
They
See,
respect. I don't
I'm not here to be
You,
your
you
friend.
heard
Suda.
that? Have you heard that about I'm your friend and
Yeah, I
something
heard,
like that?
I
with
hear,
that?
yeah, I heard that, they can talk to the hand.
Okay, talk
Pow.
to the hand because
Talk
I
to
ain't
the hand.
hearing it.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you?
So me and my son, we I guess you could say we friends now, but I mean when he was growing up, I was his dad. I mean, and that was
Right.
just it.
Right.
What I said would go,
Okay.
and
Right.
he respected that. He never really gave me a lot of problems until he got to be older, and I had to tell him like everybody done heard I ain't one of your little friends.
Okay.
So you save that for them.
Because I think when they look at you as a friend, they think they can drink with you, party with you, do everything with you. Because they do that now.
I've
The
seen that
parents
before.
take them out.
No.
They
I've
go
seen
out
that
and
before.
party.
They do?
They do that.
They have
And
a-
they drink with them, they
Yeah,
smoke
our
weed
neighborhood,
with
we had
them.
we had a neighborhood friend.
Uh-huh.
We had an older lady. She was friends with all the teenagers. They go over there and drink, smoke weed.
See?
She was a neighborhood friend. She was
Okay.
the cool lady in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Every neighborhood has a cool person. A cool person who let you drink beer with them, or a cool lady, a cool lady who'll call the school for you. Can you call
And
the school
lie.
for me and tell
You
them,
think they
act like you
school
my
and they-
mama
uh-huh.
and tell them I'm sick?
Oh no! See,
Yeah,
me and
yeah,
hubby done
cool.
had it out. I was the neighborhood mom when my two sons was growing up, but I was the neighborhood mama. I mean,
Oh, you wasn't the cool
that-
mama.
Oh, baby, hey, you came in my house, you abide by the rules. You clean up. They taught it, and my husband always was feeding. I'm like, why you keep feeding these kids? And every time they come around, but I realized that a lot of those kids didn't have daddies in their house.
Right.
So my husband ended up being the dad, but they never called him daddy. But they always called me mama, except for my little white son that I had, and he was so
Called
sweet.
your mother.
Oh baby, let me tell you. he would see me today. He gonna call me mama. It wasn't no mother, mama. This is mama. Okay. But it was so funny because he was about 3 or 4. I helped raise him, and I took him to Whataburger. We was traveling with my sons, and they were gonna act up. We in Whataburger. And we traveling, and Emmanuel would have his little friend, and Darius would have his friend. So we up there at the counter, and these little two boys just running around in the Whataburger. And I was so tired because we had just left San Antonio, whatever that C word. And I saw these little boys running around, and they was running around so fast, I didn't even know they were mine. And I'm like, who are these little bad butt boys running around in the store? The mama told me, she said, those your boys. I say, the hell you say? And I looked around there with Darius and Skylar just running around. I took my shoe off, and I got to beat them in the store. And then the people was coming in the door, and I would beat them all the way through the door, and they were there. They went to and the man said, he just stood there. And then I thought about, oh, Lord, I'm whooping this white boy, and they going to put me in jail for it. And the guy said, man, that's okay. You ain't got to worry about it, because they ain't never seen no parent whoop somebody with a shoe. I get back home, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to tell the boy daddy that I done whooped him in Whataburger, and he called me, because we all grew up together, you know, they kids. He said, Elma, you can whoop his ass anytime you want to, because his ass need to be whooped. And I was up there saying, you sure? He said, yeah, you have my permission. You whoop his ass anytime
There
you
you
want
go.
to. He said, because first of all, he didn't have no business doing that. And do you know, to this day, he still remember that whooping? And he texted me one day and he said, you know what, I'm the man because you had something to a part of me. You brought me up how to do this. You know, not saying his parents wasn't doing that, but he had a crazy black mama.
Yeah.
And he still called me his mom. I don't care where I am. Hey, mama. Hey, mama, he'll call me that. And, you know, and he respect me to this day.
Yeah.
And he sent me this beautiful text thanking me. He's married now, has a child.
Well, that's
But it's because I don't play that. Wherever you clown me, I clowned you.
Right.
You know, it wasn't no
Right.
talking back to me.
Yeah,
Oh, and now my sons are grown. They still don't talk. They still think I'm crazy.
You are.
You right.
Yeah.
I am. I'm from killed that. But they'll tell me the other day, they said, Mama, we don't like tell you no, because you know you get off in our tails. You right. Because you ought to respect your parents. And I used to tell them all the time,
Right.
you'll live longer.
That's right.
The Bible says that, you
Yes.
know.
Sure.
Honor 'em. I brought you in this world, and what they say, I'll take you out. And they still be like, yeah, mama, you know. But I want them to be good young men. I want them to
Yeah.
open the door, even though my husband didn't open the door for me. What he do is hit the button and the door open up. So
That counts.
That counts for something.
That counts. That'll work.
but you know, you want
the button.
to,
Don't count.
you know. But let me ask you this question. Have you ever experienced in your life that you felt like you didn't raise your children the right way? Did you ever have any flashbacks? I could have done this, or did I miss something? What, you know, did you ever go back and think about something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
I
have.
mean, you have to realize that nobody's perfect. There's no, I mean, even though people write these books about parenting and all that,
Thank you.
every kid is going to be different, even
Right.
within
Right.
the
That's
8
right.
that
No
we
matter how
have.
you
I mean,
raise
it
them,
doesn't
yeah.
matter. They're all going to be different. They're all going to have their own personality.
Right.
And as you, in raising my two younger sons, you have to understand, which I may not have understood earlier, is that every kid is going to have their own personality.
That's
Every kid is
right.
going to
Thank
have their
you.
own
Yes.
gifts and talents, and you
Yes.
can
Right.
see it when they're young. And I think when your kids are first born, you're like, you know, you're just overjoyed that you're a parent, right? But you really don't pay attention
Attention.
to everybody having their own unique whatever.
Personality,
And it's. I mean, I just pay attention to that more. But like my oldest son, I mean, he's out there in the streets doing whatever. But it's he always the thing that helps me understand that I may have been all right in raising him is that whenever he gets in trouble, he always comes back home.
Okay.
He's like, hey, I need to go to a safe place. Let me go. I mean, I might not hear from him for years. And then I'm like, Dad, can I? Yeah. It's like, hey, it's back to the same thing. You got to follow these rules. These are the rules right here.
They didn't change.
And then no, they're not going to ever change. Even one of my sons that, and we know he smokes weed, and he cusses all the whole nine.
I got one in your family.
I said, because he came for his sister's graduation from college. I said, hey, he said, Dad, you want to tell me? I know what the rules are. I'm not stupid. I said, oh, okay, all right, I'm just checking. So they know. It's just that sometimes, I think especially with boys, it takes them a little longer to grow into who they know they're supposed to be.
Right.
It just takes a little longer because, especially for African American males, I mean, there's just a lot of pitfalls and
Right.
treachery out there
And
for
bam,
them.
bam,
But
bam.
yeah. So
It is.
it's a lot to overcome, and that's why being a dad is a stabilizing influence
It is.
to help them get over the hump.
But what I like about what you're saying is that regardless of him being out there in the street, you still have your door
Open
open
door.
for
Oh,
him.
absolutely.
You don't close, shut
Absolutely.
down your heart.
No. And we,
you know.
hey, we,
You don't peep out and say, "Oh no, you're not
No,
coming in here."
we brought him in and put him out several times.
Right.
And I had to tell him one time because he was trying to say something about my wife. I said, "Look here, you don't get it." I said, "She's the one trying to keep you here. I'm trying to put you out." He was like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, she's trying to save you. I wanted to put you out like a couple of months ago." She's like, "No, let him say he's trying to get himself together." I said, "Oh, no." And I gave in to that because that's the softer side that sometimes men need when the situation
yeah.
gets extremely challenging. I'm like, all right, he can stay. I said, he does one more thing, he's gonna hit that door. He's gonna hit the door. So I mean, it's
Well, let me ask you this question that usually come up. This question is, do you show favoritism
Oh,
to any of your children?
my kids think I do.
There you
They're
go.
like, oh no, she's the favorite. I said,
There
she's
you
not
go.
the favorite. She's just older than everybody else. So as your kids get older, the relationship, you're still a parent, but how you parent them changes.
Okay,
Because you
okay.
can't be because they're still gonna do what they wanna do. So you have to plant the seed,
There
let the
you go.
seed grow a little bit, and then they'll come back and talk to you
Right.
when they've digested that information. With the younger kids, oh, you're gonna do what I tell you to do. That's a whole different thing. Well, why does she, hey, we're not even talking about that. It has nothing to do with her. You're still a minor. Yeah, you're still a minor. You don't get a vote.
Okay,
Yeah.
what do you say? Do you show favoritism? You've been accused of
No,
favoritism.
yeah, I've been accused of favoritism.
Okay.
Everybody
But
is.
my kids know I diss them all.
You what now?
I diss them all. So I'm fair with everybody,
Okay.
you know. Just like my daughter said one day, she said, now I know how Otto feel. There you
Okay.
go. Now I know I'm doing my job.
right.
And then I like we say, you know, I remember a time, you know, the boys when they growing up. You know, I'm called, you know, I used to be in prison ministry or whatever, and so you know, I was the one that you know everybody would say, you know, just like guys would come over and they try to meet my daughters, and they would always tell my daughters, your daddy ain't no preacher, your daddy ain't in prison ministry, because you know I'm just crazy. So, you know, my son, he tried to, I remember, I think he was like 12 or 13, and then he, you know, they tried to rebel. You know, he tried to, you know,
yeah.
I spanked him and he tried to buck up, so, you know, I just dropped the belt and say, come on, nigga, let's go. We gonna keep this thing real, let's go. Let's go.
What did you need?
Then he bucked up too, so I just, you know, hit him with one of them lefts. Boom, come on, nigga.
And what did he say then?
His mama said, stop it, you gonna hurt him. Nah, he a man now, you wanna buck up? You don't wanna, this is my house here. Then he talked crazy to his mama. I said, let me tell you something, man. I said, you talk crazy to her, right? I said, I got some bad news for you. That woman you just talked crazy to, that's not just your mother. I said, that's my woman. You disrespecting my woman, now you're gonna have to pay. Let's go.
That's it.
Because now you just like a nigga on the street.
That's it.
Because now you want to act like one, let's go.
That's all.
And so we had that one altercation, that didn't happen anymore. Because
That's it.
whenever you buck up and you want to try to be a man, then you want to try to be a man, okay, let's go. Okay, forget all that. Let's just go like a man.
So you taught him that. What about you? Oh, but you didn't have a one, so you
I
couldn't
didn't
show.
have that
You
issue.
didn't have that issue because you didn't have nothing like
I
that.
just had that one, and, you know, but as far as the bucking up, they gonna do that.
Yeah, they
They
do.
gonna do that. Now, I didn't try to fight him. I don't have time to fight. I just got my 380.
What's a 380?
His gun.
And what did
Now,
you say then?
Yeah, I was married, so I couldn't just go. You know, I was already, you know, I didn't know karate, but I pulled out that crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta pull out first. You gotta pull
So
out
what
first.
did he say? He just said, so you gonna shoot? I said, yeah.
And was you serious?
If you bold enough at 14 years old to buck up to
Disrespect.
me, and I'm trying to talk to you about keeping your grades up,
He done got a gun put on because he can't keep the grades up.
Yeah, it's an experience you
It
never
wasn't
forget.
because of the grades.
know it.
It was because of the disrespect.
Respect, that's right.
Yeah.
And all the sacrifices that I made,
Thank
I know
you.
that's
and
right.
you gonna disrespect me, all the clothes you have on, I paid for.
All right,
point.
The
Beyonce.
food you eat,
Go ahead,
I
Beyonce.
paid for.
point.
Right.
You know,
The lights
that
on.
basketball team you playing on, all you know.
I had to pay for those gears
there,
and all
man.
that.
I'm the
Yeah.
one at every game when I could be doing something I want to do, you know.
That's
But, you know, so yeah, it was the disrespect. And, you know, I just,
I can get disrespected on the street, but you ain't finna disrespect me up in here.
what he said. There you go.
Not
I
up
love
in
it.
here.
There you go.
Not up in here.
It's getting hot in here. Yeah,
Now, I might not have much, but this my house.
that's right.
That's it.
You know, the time goes by so fast when you're having fun. But I have really enjoyed these young fathers that taking the time to come out and talk about this. And I hope you fathers that are out there, we didn't try to talk about no deadbeat dads. We're giving honor to these fathers that been in the household, that's been there for their children, help raising their children, still open the door out, you know, say, come on back. And, you know, it's a blessing to have men in the household. So, men, we commend you all. We really do thank you all for taking the time out to be a part of the Talk of Life talk show. And we want to encourage all men, be a part of your children's life. Be a part of that, especially teach, love them and show them discipline. You can, you know, train up a child in the way that they should go. Get them in somebody's good church that believe in Jesus. Get them in there and talk to your kids and explain to them. Listen to your kids when they come to you. And if they're having problems, talk to them. Don't just push them out the way like they're a dog or something and kicking them. And be that father in front of those children. Before we close, what advice I want from each one of you that you could give to a young father out there or to any fathers raising their children? We're going to start with you, doggy style.
You want to make sure you be a part of your child's life. You don't want to live with regrets. When you're not a part of your child's life, and as that child, you can't get that time back. You can't get that time back. You can never get
That's right.
get it back. And you can do some things in that child's life where sometimes the relationship will never be repaired or never be the same. And so you want to make sure you're a part of that child's life as much as possible. You know, if you don't correct that child, then that means you don't love that child. So you
Good
need to take
point.
time to correct the child. And nothing can replace time. You know, you
That's
can
so
kick a
true.
couple of dollars to your girl. You can do this, buying some shoes, but nothing can take the place of you being there and spending time with that child. And sometimes that child, that's all they want. Yeah, they want the clothes, they want the
That's
shoes.
so true, yes.
But they want you more than
Yes.
anything else. And they not only do they want you, they need you. And so
Yes.
to be there for them, that'll be a decision that you make that years down the road, you'll be so glad when you look back.
Yes.
You'll be so glad you made that choice and that decision to spend time with them. Because now you'll have an open door where you can have a conversation with your kids, and then maybe they will be your friends at that time. And they'll be there, maybe one day you'll need them.
Okay. Jerome?
So I would say my advice to a young parent or even a dad that's been a dad for a while is 3 Ps. First of all, you have to be present. You can't make a difference if you're not present.
Good point.
Most of the time, all our kids want is our time. They just want to spend time with you. They
Yes.
don't necessarily want the Xbox or, you know, the expensive stuff. They do, but more importantly, they want you. That's one.
That's good.
Be present. The second one is be patient.
That's
You
good.
have to be
That's good.
patient because a lot of times somebody had to be patient with you.
Good point.
And so a lot of times kids act out when they're hurting and they don't even know how to express what's hurting them. So you have to have the patience to listen and not just always react to everything. You have to have the patience to sometimes just sit back and let them come to you. Have the patience to let them learn from their own experiences. Let them bump their heads against the wall enough and they'll see the light. I know a lot of times my son would always come back to me and ask me, Daddy, how is it every time you tell me something is gonna happen, it happens? Because I've been there.
Right.
So you have to
Good
have the
point.
patience to just let them learn on their own. You can't be with them 24/7. So you have to have the patience to know that they'll be all right, and just give them a little leeway so that they can learn on their own. Because if they strong-willed like my son, you can talk to them all day long. They not gonna get the message until they hit their head on that wall enough times to where their head start bleeding. The third thing is you have to be prayerful, because when you get kids, they don't come with an instruction manual, and you're not gonna always know what to do. So you have to get guidance from God. God is the only one that can tell you what to do to make this show what to do. Go to God. He knows all.
All right.
Let me say one last thing before we get to the next one. When he's talking about being present, you want to be present when they're young so you can have influence.
That's right.
There's a time in the kid's life, once they get 13, 14, and 15, they don't want to talk to you anymore.
That's good.
They want the iPhone, they want to talk to their friends. You out, you lose your influence.
Right.
And so you want to make sure you're there when you have an opportunity to bond with the child when they're born, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old.
good.
That's not a time you just toss the kids to grandma or whoever and let them watch them while you go hang out. That's the time that you have influence in their
That's
life,
true. Good
and you have
point.
to build it then. Now, if you wait till they're 13, 14, then you didn't want to talk to them. Now you're gonna see what it's like. They ain't got the time of day for you because they out. They don't even want to see you.
You're right. That's
All
right.
right, Carlos, bring it on in. Bring it on in.
They said all the important stuff, but what I will say is don't be afraid to make mistakes.
That's
I
good.
mean,
That's good, Carlos.
There's no
That's
way
good.
that you're going to be
That's
perfect.
good.
That's not going to happen.
That's right.
It's very important that you have an expectation of yourself as a father, because if you don't, you're going to believe what other people say about what fatherhood is, and it's extremely important because you give direction, guidance, and you give stability to your family and to your children.
All right. Good advice from these fathers. And at this time, we're going to ask the wives. We have 2 wives here tonight, and we want them to come up so you can see what great behind the, what they say, every good man has a good woman. And
But
we
you know
have
what? I'm gonna correct that. It's
Okay,
not
say-
behind every
what-
good
what
man.
is it?
It's beside.
Side. I love that, Jerome.
It's
I
not
like that. It's
behind.
not
I don't
behind.
want her behind me because
Oh,
I
you
can't
don't-
see what she doing.
Oh, look at well, come on up here, y'all.
Side.
Okay, well, how am I get them on the side up here?
We'll make
Oh,
some
no,
room.
you have to come, because there's no steps up there.
Okay. Yeah, this.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, tonight, can she just, we don't have enough room for her to be on the side.
She on my side.
He
Oh,
got
she on your
10,000
side?
points for that one, didn't
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to move out the way so we can get the, and see, we even have 2 of the young ones up here with the daddy.
We need a
All
picture
right.
Oh,
Can we,
man.
all right.
Let me
Okay,
count
we're
the
gonna
ways.
hold up a
Okay.
picture of Suda. We're gonna hold up a picture of Suda because she's
Okay.
beautiful.
All right. Okay, so we have 2 of your babies up here.
Yes.
Okay, you wanna tell your name?
Noah.
Okay, Noah?
Noah.
And what's the other baby name?
Sebastian.
Okay, and this is the wife, and what is your name? Sabrina?
Why'd you show that
Hi, Sabrina. Okay, so you all are a beautiful couple.
Thank you.
And we just give praise
Amen.
for these beautiful young men. They are awesome. And we have, look at all of these over here.
This boo-boo kid.
Okay, this okay, what you have to say? Nothing? What's her name for real?
Her name is Deborah, but see, she won't talk to other people, but when we are alone, y'all think I talk a lot. I'm the quiet one when we alone.
Oh,
She do
really?
all the talking.
Oh, she does all the talking, okay. Well, we commend both of you all for being here and allowing us to hear from all this great advice and everything. And hopefully we can get you all on the show and y'all can talk and everything. We can see how much Deborah talking, Sabrina talking,
She can
all of that.
talk.
Do y'all care to say anything before we close?
Just thank you for the opportunity. I'm glad that everyone gets to see all the greatness that I get to see on a regular basis.
Whoa! Whoa! Look at that! You done scored some points. But you I know that's right. Hey, that's a steak dinner.
Chris.
Oh my goodness. That's right. That's right. Oh my goodness.
Okay, Deborah, you have anything to say? On the spot, huh? What you got to say about your honey boo?
Yeah, I'm just glad that everyone got to see the heart that I fell in love with.
Oh, in there. Wow. Yeah. Okay, did you
But
find it?
y'all finna get y'all doggy style on. It ain't nothing but just all this kissy. I'm so glad, I'm so glad I met you. You're the air that I breathe, the bath water that I drink.
That was on a TV show. He said all this stuff. That was on a TV show. I want to meet his wife because I know she, for 39 years, I know she'd have put up with that. But anyway, thank you all so much for being a part of the show. Tune in June 24th, 2019, 7 p.m. Please subscribe to YouTube, Talk of Life Talk Show with Elma. Our next week guest is going to be Katie Selman, the Chronicle of a Love Addict, a love junkie journeying from suicide to save. Wow. We never think about you could be addicted to a man. You can be addicted to loving a man. So come and meet this woman that's going to tell her story about her addiction to a man and not to drugs. We want to thank you all once again for being a part of the Talk of Life Talk Show. We love you, and most of all, I love my audience. May God bless you. Until we see you again next week, June 24th, same time, Facebook Live. Please subscribe to YouTube channel, Talk of Life Talk Show with Elma. Okay, we have a few announcements before we close out the show tonight. The Church Within International Ministry, where Apostle Glenn is the pastor and I serve as co-pastor Elma Kirkwood. We're located at 1250 Mansfield Avenue, Fort Worth, Texas, 76104. Sunday school at 10 a.m., morning worship at 11:15. And the church that looks with the spiritual eye and not the carnal eye. Our next announcement is, oh gosh, have you ever gone to the doctor and you hate it when they try to stick you and they have to stick you over and over again? I would like to introduce you to a school, A+ Phlebotomy, where the CEO is Alicia White. Her contact number is 817-948-0373, and I guarantee you she will teach you the art of the draw. Contact Alicia White again at 817-948-0373. Now, this guy can cut your lawn so beautiful that you will forget his name. And the name of the company is called whatchamacallit. The CEO is Derek Brackens, 682-400-9255. He can make your lawn look so beautiful that you will forget the name. But whatchamacallit, Derek Brackens, 682-400-9255. And last but not least, the Kirk booth.
The perfect addition to your next event. Book us now, the Kirk booth. We bring the life to the party. From corporate events to weddings to birthdays and much more, we've done it all. Packages include unlimited photo printing, unlimited text messaging, a USB drive with all photos, video recording, props, backdrops, and logo branding, as well as a friendly attendant on site.
To Talk of Life Talk Show with Elma on YouTube. Until we see you again.